let's go to everyone's favorite topic of discussion. I've already gotten some furrowed brows to hear that I was going to teach VIM in my course for good reasons. It's a very polarizing subject, VIM. So people either love it and they will tell you everything about it, or they hate it and they will tell you how much they hate it. And there's really very few like middle ground positions to hold on VIM. Yeah, dare I say it is the most polarizing text editor of all time. And I don't think that's even controversial in and of itself to say. So VIM has actually a very long and very interesting history, whereas like Nano came from Pico, and like that's really it. Like that's the whole history. VIM came from like there's like 9 upstream projects from like where VIM came from, and it's kind of a windy path. So it all started with a project called ED, and I'm told that it's said ED. You don't say ed. That's offensive to people of yore. That's called ED, which in and of itself came from a different project called QED. So ED was based on this older project. It's developed by a guy named Ken Thompson at Bell Labs in 1969. Again, a lot of the great ideas that we do today in computing came from Bell Labs. And it is a line-oriented programming or line-oriented editor, which is, for me, nonsensical. I actually spent a decent amount of time trying to figure out how to use it, and I cannot figure it out. But believe it or not, it's actually available today. So if I say ed.txt, so it's based on like you do these like lines like one at a time, and then you type something and it'll give you back commands of like question marks and stuff like that. I don't know. This might as well be ancient hieroglyphics to me. I'm probably gonna get someone text me as like, I use ED for all my editing and you're a terrible person for not knowing how to, probably, okay? I don't even, do I know? Yeah, so Control D will get you out of it, right? So you can send it a sig quit, and luckily ED will respect that. Did I even put anything? No, I don't think I even saved the file. So I literally do not know how to use ED. Okay. So the thing about ED and the why ED is the way it is it was invented in a time when memory was very precious, and so they couldn't keep like entire text files in memory, and frequently they were actually even printing out what was being typed in. So they wanted to do one line at a time because every bit of like screen space basically was precious, right? So that's why line editors are oriented towards lines, is because they didn't want to be able to, or they didn't want to have to print everything out all at once. Suffice to say that that idea has cleanly gone away. There's no one that uses any sort of line editor style anymore because memory isn't such, and screen space is not a resource that we care about anymore. So this is back in a time when ED was used in a time when bits were what you talked about, not kilobytes, not megabytes, not gigabytes. It was bits. You were worried about individual bits. Okay, so from ED we got X. I think people say that X, it might be EX. I'm not really sure. X was a line editor, but not nonsensical, right? It was actually much easier to use. People liked that. That got popular for a long time. It put a much nicer face on ED, and that's what people used for a while, and it's well known. I actually think if I go in here and I say X text file.txt, oh, it actually does. So EX is still around. You can see I'm entering X mode, but if I type visual, it actually pops me now into VIM. So EX is actually now using VIM. So EX evolved into VIM, and it's actually now just a mode in VIM. But it actually started with the inverse, where VI was a mode for EX. It was the visual mode for the X editor. So from EX, EX was evolved itself, from a two previous editors called EN and EM, and then we got EX. And then eventually, a guy named, I think, Bill Joy. Yeah, Bill Joy made a screen-oriented version of EX called VI, which was visual mode for EX. So it actually still used VI or EX under the hood. It was just like a more visual-oriented representation, but VI was just a mode in EX. So from there, VI kind of became the default, that people just started using VI to open EX directly in visual mode. A guy named Tim Thompson made a VI clone for the Atari ST that then this guy named Bram Molinar ported to the Amiga. He made this VI imitation, so VIM, which was then later renamed to VIM improved instead of VI imitation. And it was just a bunch of quality of life improvements on the original VI. So again, if you run VI on Mac, it's actually just running Vim. So I frequently type VI text file.txt, but it's actually running Vim. And those are separate things, but these days it doesn't really matter because people don't use VI anymore, they just use Vim. So that's probably like maybe about 10 minutes extra of history that you didn't really need, but I found it very interesting and I wanted to share. So of how we got from like these crazy line editors to this like modern tool that people still use. Like they're actually rewriting Vim now to a new program called NeoVim, right? So it's still very live, very healthy. People love it. A lot of the front-end masters instructors themselves use Vim, so it is full-featured. It works with like React and JSX and all the latest stuff.